Episode 6 of Inside the Toy Box is now started. We have a smaller group today, but that's okay because it's going to be packed with possibly even more exciting things. As always, I'm Ryan. I'm your community manager, and I'm joined by...
Miss... What is my name? Robin.
Yes.
My name is Robin. Robin Yang. Hi.
Yes, and she has come from her bunker out west.
Yes, no, it's actually called our satellite studio. So we have this studio, and then we have the satellite studio of Robin's apartment out in Seattle.
Interesting. Okay. Because I was whenever I'm working from home, I say it's the Evanston Moon Base.
Ah, that works too.
Yep.
I would like a moon base.
We'll get you set up with one of those. So today we're going to be talking about casual games, but first we have some new games coming out from us. One just announced was Word Off, which we've been working on for quite some time.
So much fun.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And the awesome thing is we've been getting a ton of really good feedback.
Right, because we had the kind of friends and family beta, and hopefully we'll expand that beta pretty soon so you guys can play it.
Yes.
But it's basically our word game where if you go on our website, you'll see it's kind of like a hex-based word territory conquering type game. So if you think like the base mechanic of something like Scrabble, but you have like forming territories and actually conquering spaces and not just scoring points with your words. So it's cool, and I'm really, really happy with the new art style that we've kind of found. We're doing kind of like, I guess you would call it like comic book deco type.
Well, I think the technical term, because I use Google, I know how to use Google. Ben-Day dot printing. Ben-Day, B-E-N.
Which is where it was like the original printing method for if you could only use two colors and you had to like
like the pointillism stuff.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then you created like this really, really funny comic based on the fact that earlier this week, apparently Alec Baldwin got kicked off a plane.
Word game drama. Seriously, word games are intense. I think we found that by playing our game.
Yeah. So apparently Alec Baldwin got kicked off a plane because he wouldn't like turn off his phone while he was playing, what was it, like
Words with Friends on his iPad. Yeah.
Nice. Could you imagine like being like, I wonder who it was who was playing against Alec Baldwin. He was like, sorry man, like I caused Alec Baldwin to get kicked off.
You can only imagine, really, because to be the head
he plays with his brothers, like the other Baldwins.
Super competitive.
Everyone's like,
Baldwin.
dude, you guys hear what happened to Alec? Man, that sucks.
Words with Baldwins. Wow.
See, we should make that expansion. Words with Baldwin.
I think that's the only logical place where we can go from Word Off, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was like a funny, I was watching YouTube about it just to kind of get inspiration for that comic. And,
oh my god, has the Taiwanese News Network done a recap of it yet?
I'm counting down the minutes,
Yeah, because there's that show where the CG animators or whatever at the Taiwanese news station do these like reimaginations of current events. So like they did one whenever Lindsay Lohan gets in trouble. They did one whenever like Steve Jobs used to get mad at people. Like they would just do these crazy animations. I'm sure they're working on this one. Like it's so right for comedy.
Yes. Yeah, but no, they interviewed Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer. He's like, yeah,
that's relevant.
Well, here's what he said. He's like, yeah, he was kind of getting a little crazy on the flight. A boxer.
Was he next to him?
Well, probably in the first class area.
All those first class celebrities that all sit together and play Words with Friends.
When the boxer is telling news reporters that Alec Baldwin is getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
What was happening?
Who knows? And can you imagine being that poor flight attendant who'd be like, Sir, Mr. Baldwin, Mr. Baldwin, we're going to have to ask you to turn off. No, I don't want to. Sir, we've closed the main cabin door.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think that's only boosted the profile of word games, though, from here on out.
Absolutely.
Alec Baldwin approved.
Yeah, we should do that. Be like, I'm Alec Baldwin, and I approve of this word game.
Maybe we can get some of the actual lesser Baldwins to endorse it.
Probably be easier, too.
Mm-hmm. We'll work our way up the Baldwin food chain.
That's awful. Anyways.
On a happier, more merry note, iOS, we have released, I'm saying this backwards, we're releasing Mahjong Christmas on iOS.
So festive. And we love that everyone keeps playing the Mahjong because it's such a simple matching it, but clearly there are patterns that you can figure out and you keep playing it over and over, and it's a good game. Despite the fact that it's a really, really casual game, we still find a ton of audience playing it.
I sense a segue.
Speaking of casual games, We were talking just before the podcast. Well, we were talking before the podcast about what we were going to talk about the podcast. And
spoiler alert, we're winging it.
Go figure. And we were just kind of discussing how, like, recently we've seen all these casual types, like casually structured games, but you can play them super hardcore. Like, I think one of the best examples from years ago when we first started seeing this trend was Plants vs. Zombies, where, you know, clearly PopCap was a very casual-facing company. They had a lot of, like, older slanted female users, but they came out with this, like, sort of hardcore strategy game in Plants vs. Zombies, and it was surprising to see that, you know, mainstream game media that would probably never cover PopCap games all of a sudden started loving this game.
I think PopCap has this down, like, solid. Yeah. There's nobody right now who I think kind of made the transition better than PopCap.
Well, you could argue something that, like, you know, like Zynga, obviously a very new company, they create a fairly hardcore, well, they allow their users to be pretty hardcore because, you know, you see these crazy, like, Zynga fan sites where it's like people have made charts and charts of, like, the payouts for Farmville, you know, plants where it's like, oh, you know, which plant is the most efficient and what's, like, a schedule to keep, and people get really, really hardcore. So it's like, when you think about the definition of casual gaming as we've had it, like, prior to, like, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, it really was just like, okay, there's a clear divide between hardcore games, which is all like consoles and PCs, and like hardcore gamers and like, you know, like, I'm going to upgrade my graphics card for this kind of stuff. And then casual was always sitting in like the kind of like, you know, Pogo.com and, you know, all these like casual flash game sites. And then all of a sudden they're coming together because as it turns out, everyone has smartphones now.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted because Brett popped his head in and waving at us. So, let's get back on track here. The magic of editing. Okay, let's just bring it to a game I've been playing lately, Jetpack Joyride. The Half-Brick title, they just updated with some cool stuff.
Is that out on Android yet?
I don't think so.
Because it kind of disappoints me. Like, I know.
Do you not have an iPhone?
I have an iPod Touch, but it's not like connected to anything, so it's sort of a hassle for me to update anything. And I know that I made my choice when I bought an Android phone, and I get it, and I accept it, or I've been learning to accept it. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, well, you know, it's fairly easy now to develop for multiple, like, sure, you know, like iOS will probably still be lead because, you know, like developers like, oh, you know, iOS or whatever, but we've been seeing some really, really great success on Android. And, you know, we've been working a lot with HTML5, which is super easy to basically compile for any platform.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jetpack Joyride. I played that for, I think I beat like all the missions in the original game in maybe one day.
Well, yeah, it's easy to play, but that's the thing. Like, it's one of those casual games, simple mechanic.
Right, like the one touch, the cannonball thing, right? Like, you have like one touch, and that's all you need to do. You can touch anywhere on the screen, and you don't have to like learn 10 like different button layouts.
Except on the right side, because then you won't see the missiles.
Right.
Pro tip.
But you know, super hardcore because there's all these like little missions you can fulfill. You play for hours and hours and hours.
Those missions reminded me a lot of the Halo Halo Reach daily missions.
Yeah, which is great because I think it means, you know, developers are going to be more invested in keeping content fresh for people just by like adding new stat tracking into certain games. So it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of speaks to like, well, you know, you can have a game if it's a well-designed game for a mobile platform. You could argue that a lot of them have this ability to, like, you can play it super casually, but you can also get really, really hardcore about it. And that's kind of like that weird place where it's like, you know, you have to. I think this is like come with the rise of freemium type games where you have to convince the customer to download your game and then give it at least like 5 minutes. And so those 5 minutes have to be really, really casual in a sense. You have to be really, really like quick to learn how the mechanics work. Quick reward cycles, and then you get the deeper game after that like first 5 minute session. So I think developers are getting better and better at creating games that can be, like, looks are deceiving, right? Like, it's very casual to start, but it actually turns out that you can play this game forever.
I think a lot of it, I mean, the one thing I keep coming back to with casual games, especially on smartphones and things like that, is the touch interface. Mm-hmm. I think it's really hard to get a very console-like experience.
Right, because you don't have like 6 like buttons per hand
Right.
to have to take care
Right,
of.
and the act of like touching or tapping something is very like primal, like
Right.
very infantile almost.
Right.
Not in like a bad way, but like in a very intuitive. The dirt.
I touch screen.
But in a way that lends itself to more casual
Right,
play.
because you have to.
Right.
You have to kind of figure out, like, okay, what is that one touch thing? Or, like, in the case of something like Cutthroat or Angry Birds, like, what does that one, like, swipe mean? Like, how can we distill, like, just that one movement into all these different types of actual mechanics in a game?
Like Infinity Blade.
Right.
Yeah, it's like I would consider that a very hardcore game with very casual
Right.
gameplay.
Right. But I think people are also, like, there's the well-polished casual games who do that will also have, like, you'll start to adapt, like, how you tap on the screen or how you swipe on the screen. Like, if somebody's playing Fruit Ninja, I think you can. I feel like you're able to tell by like the momentum of their motions what they're playing. Because I swore, like I've been at airports before, and I'd look over at somebody like on their iPad or on their phone or something, and I'll look at their motions. I'll be like, those swipes. Like I know those swipes. That pattern is the Fruit Ninja pattern, and then I'll like walk over and casually look over and like sure enough it's Fruit Ninja. Whereas if they're playing Angry Birds, there's a totally different rhythm and there's a totally different speed and like how they react and all these things. So there are. It's not that every single game is a swiping game. It's that like there's going to be little nuances in how that swipe is basically taking place in the game, which changes it a lot. And that's sort of hardcore, right? Because then you're going to learn like, okay, well, if I time this correctly, if I swipe this far versus this far, it's cool.
The Angry Bird swipe, the Angry Bird signature.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy to look at people and they're playing. Like,
yeah.
Well, there's might be Angry Birds. Then again,
analyzing people's like finger motions. It's I know.
Yeah, no, I will confess to seeing what games people play on the trains I'm to and from.
Yep.
It's always Angry Birds, though.
It's always Angry Birds. Well, the thing with Angry Birds is actually you can play it without having to stop everything else you're doing. So, like Fruit Ninja, because most of those modes are timed, you can't stop for a second, or like if the train moves or something. Like I used to try to play what was it? GTA Chinatown Wars. I was playing that on my DS for the longest time. Great game, by the way. It was like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
But I played that on the subway, and I would have to like adjust myself based on like if the train stopped or if it was moving or things like that. Like my car would like swerve a little bit, and I wouldn't be doing like as accurate of a action in the game. Not to mention, I think I missed my stop like 4 times during the course of it, just because I was so like engrossed in it. But with Angry Birds, there is a clear pause every single time you've flung a bird across, and you can take that moment to, like, for example, reassess what train station you're at and not miss your stop.
Right. But I think it's so low risk too. If you do miss something in Angry Birds, it kind of lends itself to the casual nature. Is that if you misfire a bird, you just reload.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just kind of programmed into your thumb muscle memory.
Right. Yeah.
I've been trying to, I'm slowly working my way through all the Angry Birds levels.
You still haven't made your way through?
Mm-mm.
You're like
no, I need
not
to,
even up to speed.
I know, but I want to get at least 2 stars in every level.
Man,
because I can't just get
2-star,
one.
Man, you're like super casual.
I'm casually playing casual games.
That's like meta casual.
Is there a meta casual critic?
Meta casual critic? Meta. I don't know.
Critic?
Meta.
So many layers of meta. But I think the one thing is that there are so many layers of casual game, and that it's only going to get muddier and murkier.
What do you mean by that? And do you think that's a good or bad thing?
Yeah, I just mean, see, gaming's more mass appeal now than it was 10, 20 years ago, and just by nature, I think games need to be more appealing, so they're going to adopt more casual gameplay, and that's going to kind of have to be reconciled with the very hardcore experience of, like the latest first-person shooter with 20 buttons.
Do you think that those will go away?
No, I think there'll always be that, but I think the bulk of gaming is going to be somewhere in the spectrum of casual gaming. From the casual to the biz casual to the hardcore casual.
The hard cash.
Yeah.
HCO.
So thug.
Yeah,
here on Inside the Toy Box.
Totally OG, man.
I think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing either. I honestly think like hardcore games will always have a place because there will always be like, I mean, if you look at, I always hate comparing the game industry to some other medium, but it's like film industry, like you're going to have the big blockbusters, but you're also going to have like a ton of like indie films or like different genres and everything that appeal to people, and then you're also going to have things like webisodes or like TV shows and things like that. So like that one format and like media form can support so many different types of genres and audiences and content. And I think it's great. Like I think the more people playing games, the better it will be just as a general industry. But I don't think hardcore games are going away in any sense.
So what games are the Adam Sandler cross-dressing movies?
Probably Angry Birds Rio. Yeah, that's the one.
All right, I think we settled it.
Yep. So what games have you been playing aside from Jetpack Joyride?
With the announcement of Tiny Tower being like the game of the century or the year.
The century.
The century.
This is the best iOS game in the last 100 years.
If we won that, that's what I'd say. I've been playing Tiny Tower, and I played it a long time ago, and I didn't even get through the tutorial at the time. We were like way into creating Candy Dream at the time, so I was eyeballs deep in social games at the time. But now that I'm kind of stopped playing social games a little bit, I'm starting to appreciate Tiny Tower and just how simple and adorable and cute it is.
Have you found like the strategy in that game yet? Because I found like the best strategy in that game.
I use the elevator is kind of my strategy right now.
What you do is you color code the people's shirts so that they match the color of the level that they're on, so that when you're asked to find people, it's super easy to spot them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I only have...
Super hardcore.
I only have, like, 6 levels, so it's not that hard.
Like, once you get up to, like, 13, like, a couple dozen floors, like, and you're like, oh, find this dude, it's, like, it's really, really tough to have to go through and find the guy, so I color code my shirts.
Wow. I'm going to have to go do that.
Yep.
That's how I'll be spending my Saturday night. Color coding shirts.
Assigning people's shirt color. This game's so fun, man. I gave that guy a blue shirt and that guy a red shirt. It was great.
I'll be one of those obsessive types with like pins on a map, pointing to all these little tiny tower
and
people.
Then when we find your body a couple weeks later, we'll know what happened.
Yes, it's all because of the shirt colors.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's really all I've been playing. I've been trying to find some new games, but I think everything's kind of slowed down until the big Christmas explosion of games.
You don't think we're in the big Christmas explosion yet?
Maybe. Yes. Well, like our Christmas explosion happened last week.
Yeah.
So I feel like from here on out, it's going to be kind of coasting.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we do have a lot of other games coming out. It's pretty. We have. What do we have coming out? I say that like the thing is, I just feel like I've been working a lot and submitting things, so I know some stuff's coming out. I just don't know what it is. Get back to you on that one.
We'll make some show notes.
Yeah.
And then...
This is the thing Robin was talking about.
Well, what casual games have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Well, before... So I got in a ton of console gaming last week because I knew I was going to take a trip out here. And then, like, it was going to be the holidays, and I wasn't sure if I was really going to get any, like, serious hardcore gaming in. But I played a lot of Dance Central, actually. I'm a huge fan of Dance Central, too. And, like, it's both a workout and, like, song. And, like, I think the idea of me pretending I can dance like Usher is hilarious. But it makes me sort of happy. So, it's, fantasy fulfillment.
So last holiday party, we had Dance Central here.
Oh, really?
And...
we can have it again tomorrow, right?
Yeah. But I think you and Rob need to have a dance-off.
We could do that. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Because Rob was like amazing at the game.
Really?
Like, he just busted out.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's hard, right? Because it's really so much more difficult than something like DDR. Because DDR you can pick up, theoretically you could pick it up just by like looking at the arrow icons. Right. But with Dance Central you actually have to know some of these moves to be able to get past them. So unless you're like, I don't know, super hardcore.
Or the guy who created Darren's Dance Crew, the DVD.
Right.
From 1990.
Is that who Rob is?
He might
He's
be.
the one who did it.
Might have been like one of the backup dancers.
Yeah. He was like, I had a life before this too, What
That's a good example of a casual game, Dance
Yeah.
Central. It really is. Well, that's a kind of a different casual game because it's not even using like any sort of traditional gaming interface.
Right.
Or like fake gaming interface, like
Right.
the touchscreen stuff.
Yeah. Agreed. What else is going on? I spend a lot of time wondering why there wasn't like a good Muppet game because I saw the Muppets last week.
Me too. Or actually, no, I saw this earlier this week.
It's such a good movie, and I left the theater like just like grinning like an idiot.
It was funny in parts.
Yeah.
It got a little long for me in some parts.
Really?
But yeah.
I thought it was so
The
delightful.
long, I don't know, the singing and dancing numbers weren't as good as I remember other Muppet movies.
I think it's because you're old and jaded.
Probably. God, that sucks.
You need like childish wonder back in your life.
But like, okay, so who are your three favorite Muppets? Because I find everybody has like their core group of Muppets they love.
Beaker, Animal, and Kermit. Really, I do like Kermit.
Kermit, really?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
He's
he's not a bad
Like,
choice.
he's so-
But why do you like him?
Because he's so like. He's just so earnest about, well, I think Muppets in general, like, I think that's what makes them wonderful, is just they're so earnest about their personalities and their, like, general outlook on life. Like, they're sincere and they're very, like, transparent with their wants and desires, and that makes them very, like, it makes them really relatable, and it makes you, like, like, it makes those interactions pretty charming, And I think with Kermit, it's just, like, he's such a people person, and he's so, like, unselfish, and he's very, like, I don't know, I just feel like he'd be a really good person to have around. Or Frog. And Animal's just awesome.
His role in the movie was pretty funny.
In control.
In
So sad. But, like, why isn't there a good Muppets game, for example? Like, there should totally be, like, a good, like, iPhone, like, whatever, like, make it like a crappy movie tie-in or whatever. I just want like Muppets in my life all the time.
I think there were some old Game Boy Muppet games.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Like, how great would it be if, like, I mean, it's probably too late for this idea to take off, but like Jetpack Joyride, but with Gonzo. Like, hello, money.
Right. Or even like, like they did like the marionette thing with Gunstringer.
Yeah.
Why not have like a little,
like a puppet thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to make this.
I know. Why isn't anyone? Hold on. Let's rewind. Let's make these. Don't post this. Let's go back and make these games and then post this.
We might have to use the Muppet name though.
The Muppets, yeah, definitely.
I think it'd be a little hard to get the Muppets.
Sorry for the inside jokes. If you haven't seen the Muppets, you should totally go see it. And we're not being paid.
And you could laugh along with us.
Yeah. And then listen to this again, and all of a sudden we make a lot more sense. Versus just be like, oh yeah, Muppet. Smorgasbord.
I love the Swedish Chef. He's my favorite.
Smorgasbord.
Yep. And then Dr. Teeth. I just love his psychedelic nature because he's like the total persona of the era the Muppets came out of.
Right.
And then Rolf. He's just so laid back. He's like the most laid back Muppet ever.
Totally.
So those are my top 3 Muppets.
We need to make a Muppet.
I know. Oh, something to like.
Just more Muppets. Getting all sad because there's no.
Or at least do like a puppet show. See, I want to do a puppet show for some game. What trailer? Nobody liked my idea. Nobody liked puppet shows. But now the Muppets are proving everyone else wrong.
Totally.
I don't know, is there any other ground we want to cover with social
stuff?
Casual?
Hardcore
casual?
Hardcore casual. I don't know. Buy our games. Make us money.
Right.
Is that too obvious?
Might be a little strong.
No. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm excited for the holidays. I'm looking forward to just like being able to share games with people because I think that like tablet explosion along with smartphone explosion is going to mean that, again, so many more people who haven't really thought about playing games or like playing like these current generation of casual games are going to see them. Like, like they'll play Angry Birds, of course, because everybody in their
Angry Birds
does. But once they kind of like are like, oh, like I like the idea of games that I can play on this touch screen, they're going to start finding more and more games, and I think it'll be cool to see what they like and what they end up wanting and how that kind of market evolves.
Yeah, and we're only just beginning with all this stuff too.
Just beginning. Just the tip.
In every podcast, we have this line that we find And then we very, very,
Yep.
we find it and don't stop, I think.
Just the tip,
Yeah.
casually.
Oh. Well, I'm so glad this isn't on iTunes.
Yeah, I don't think I'm allowed back anymore.
You're joining the growing list of
People, like, we're going to run out of people soon. We only
Yeah.
have a studio of like a dozen kids.
Right. Yeah, it'll just be me. It might not even be me. It's
Yeah.
okay. I'll probably ban myself. It'll be like 30 minutes, 20-some-ish minutes of just
man.
white noise. All right, on that note, I think we bring episode 6 of Inside the Toy Box to a
Awesome.
close. Thank you, Robin, for being here. It was so
Thank
good to
you
have
for
you.
having me on.
You're always virtual Robin.
Yeah,
in
I'm
a lot
a
of
real
our
person.
meetings, so now
We need like a hologram of me in the office, just like looking over your shoulder.
the CNN approved
Yeah.
Will I Am hologram.
Exactly.
Well, we'll get right on that right after the Muppet Game.
Yes.
Follow us on Twitter at Toy Studio Games. Check out our website, toystudiogames.com. Learn about Word Off because it's a really great game.
Get your word off. Get
Yep.
your word off with us.
Yep. And let's see, facebook.com/Toy Studio Games. I think that does it. Thanks for listening.